So NuPhy has quickly become one of the most popular brands in the low-profile mechanical keyboard space. That's especially with its Air series. And when the Air75 version 2 first launched, it quickly became one of the most popular low-profile mechanical keyboards. And that was thanks to its sleek design, its portability, and its excellent feel when typing. And if we fast forward to now, NuPhy is now just introduced the Air75 version 3, and this looks to build on the success of the version 2 with some refinements in terms of hardware and just in terms of the user experience overall. And in this comparison, I'll take a detailed look at how the NuPhy Air75 version 3 stacks up against its predecessor, the Air75 version 2. And in this comparison, I'm going to look at the design, the switches, the keycaps, the battery, the connectivity, the software, and the price. And more importantly, I'll also discuss whether the improvements in the version 3 are enough to justify an upgrade if you already own version 2, or if you'd be better just keeping the version 2 as your keyboard in 2025. When it comes to design, both keyboards stick to the same 75% low profile layout, each having 84 keys, meaning that they strike a balance with being compact and also usability. This layout is especially appealing to those who want something smaller than a full-size keyboard but don't want to sacrifice the arrow keys and the essential function keys. The Air75 version 2 features the NuPhy's now iconic ultra slim aluminium top frame paired with a durable plastic bottom case. And it's this design of keyboard that gives it a professional look, yet it's modern and can be used with a wide variety of setups. Version 2 bezels were slightly thicker compared to today's standards, but still felt like a premium and portable keyboard. However, NuPhy have taken the Air75 version 3 and made some improvements. The bezels have been slimmed down, making the keyboard appear sleeker and more modern. The frame feels a lot sturdier and it's got reduced flex when typing. A slight increase in the rigidity of the keyboard also helps the keyboard feel more substantial without sacrificing the fact it's lightweight and portable. In terms of colour options for the keyboards, well, the version 2 came in NuPhy's typical grey colour with an accented keycap scheme with a mix of different tones and pop colours like the yellow, red and green keys that you get with NuPhy keyboards. You also had the option of getting the keyboard in a white colour, the grey colour I just mentioned, or black colour. Now with the version 3, the keyboard arguably looks a lot more minimal and more professional. It only has two colour options, black and white, and the accent colours have been refined with much cleaner legends. It makes it blend in more naturally with an office setup as well as anyone who wants a creative setup. The version 3 manages to retain the approachable style of the Air series while pushing the design to make it more suitable for a premium desk setup. And also, something that I do like, although I haven't got it, is the version 3 is now available in an ISO layer, but it's only available in the ISO layer with a white colour. I really wish they'd released this for the black version of the keyboard, as this is definitely something I would have gotten. In terms of portability, both keyboards remain extremely portable. As they have a thickness of 60mm when you don't include the feet, and they're really lightweight, they can fit into a backpack without any trouble. However, the version 3 feels more solid and it has less rattle when being carried around. It's ideal for remote workers, students, or anyone who wants a travel-friendly mechanical keyboard, although both can be used for this. Version 3 does feel like a sturdier keyboard. They also offer an option of purchasing the keyboard with a portable folio case, and I have that here. The switches on the version 3 keyboard are one of the most significant areas of improvement. The previous Air75 version 2 shipped with Gateron low profile 1.0 switches, and you had the sort of standard options of red linear, brown tactile switches. While these switches were generally well regarded, they were sometimes criticised for being a bit scratchy and not as refined as full height mechanical switches. They were also quite loud depending on which model you got. However, the version 3 of the Air75 now introduces a combination of NuPhy and Gateron nano switches, and these represent a clear improvement from the previous switches. The preload from factory giving them a smoother key press and better acoustics. They feel better when typing across the board, and they've got basically better manufacturing. In terms of the options with these switches, well, you've either got the red nano switches, which are linear, and these are great for fast typing and can be used for gaming. You've also got the brown nano switches, which are tactile switches. You've got the sort of subtle bump that gives you the sort of tactile feedback. And finally, you have the blush nano, and these are again linear switches, but they require less operating force compared with the red switches. And I'd argue they actually sound a lot quieter. Compared side by side, the version 3 switches simply feel more polished, whereas the version 2 reds, for example, felt a little hollow, whereas the version 3 red switches are smoother and sound more satisfying. Both the version 2 and version 3 switches are hot swappable, and this is pretty impressive for a low profile keyboard. I also have the new Nano Panda switches here, which I've got with the keyboard, but I'm yet to try them. I'm generally very happy with the blush switches that came with the keyboard. In terms of typing experience, the Air75 version 2 was already an excellent low profile keyboard. It had a really short travel distance of around 2.5mm, which made it fast for typing, and the stabilizers worked pretty well when it came out of the box. However, some other users have noticed a bit of a ping or hollowness in the sound profile, and it really does depend on the desk surface that you're using the keyboard with. However, the version 3 seems to have improved on this quite a bit. Stabilizers are better lubricated, which means the overall sound has improved and it seems deeper and less plasticky. Don't get me wrong, it's still a low profile keyboard, so you won't get the same deep thocky sounds that you get with a full height mechanical keyboard, but it does sound better than the version 2 and it feels more premium. Also, if you were to use it with gaming, it does have a reduced latency compared with the version 2, and if you combine that with the smoother switches, version 3 is a more responsive option when compared with its predecessor. In terms of the keycaps often make or break the user experience with a keyboard. Here, the version 3 again refines what the version 2 offered. Version 2 featured double shot PBT keycaps, and they were definitely an improvement on ABS keycaps. They were durable and resisted shine on the keycap, but the legends weren't always the sharpest, and the colorways, whilst fun, weren't exactly for everyone. Version 3, on the other hand, has improved the PBT keycap sets, cleaner legends, and slightly tweaked sculpting of the keycaps for comfort. They are available in both shine through and non-shine through options, which does give you a bit more flexibility, and it depends on whether you want to prioritize the backlighting, visibility, or the aesthetics. I've got the non-shine through keycaps. The version 3 keycaps not only look sharper, but they also feel slightly more textured, which helps with grip during long typing sessions. One of the most practical areas of improvement is battery efficiency. The Air75 version 2 came with a 4000 mAh battery, which was supposed to deliver up to 120 to 150 hours of use without backlighting and around 40 hours with RGB lighting on. This is alright, but it's not groundbreaking, and some other keyboards out there definitely had a better battery life. Version 3 keeps the same 4000 mAh capacity, but with improved power management, so you can expect up to 180 hours without the backlight and around 60 hours with the backlight turned on. And this is basically a 20 to 30% improvement in the runtime, making the version 3 a better option for those who want to have fewer charging interruptions. In terms of connectivity, both keyboards offer the standard sort of 3 ways of connecting your keyboard to your device. So you've got the USB Type-C, Bluetooth, and 2.4 GHz wireless receiver. Version 2 used Bluetooth 5.0, which is stable enough for most cases. It did come with a 2.4 GHz dongle in the box. The version 3 upgrades the Bluetooth to 5.1, which is considered more stable and has a faster connection, and it still also contains the 2.4 GHz wireless receiver, and it has been tuned for lower latency, making the version 3 a more suitable keyboard for fast-paced gaming. As per usual, both keyboards can connect to up to 3 devices simultaneously and switch seamlessly between them, which is great for multitasking. It means that it can be used with a laptop, a desktop, or a tablet altogether. However, the version 3 is slightly faster and considered to be more reliable. The Air75 version 2 relied on the NuPhy console software, which allowed basic remapping and lighting adjustments. It was functional, but it was relatively bare bones compared to some of the other customization options like QMK or VIA. With the Air75 version 3, NuPhy's expanded its software. And while it still can't be used with QMK or VIA software, the new NuPhy console offers RGB lighting programming, expanded remapping, and macro support. And it also has a better integration of wireless controls and easier firmware updates. Basically, the version 3 software is just a lot easier to use, and it makes it much easier to set up the keyboard when you take it out of the box. The Air75 version 2 launched at $119, but can now often be found discounted at around $99 or less, whereas the Air75 version 3 launches at $129 to $139, depending which model you get and which keycap and switch choice you make. The price difference is modest considering the upgrades, and if you're buying fresh, the version 3 is definitely better value for money. If you already own a version 2, whether you upgrade depends on how much you value the smoother switches, longer battery life, and improved connectivity. Both keyboards are excellent for long typing sessions, though the version version 3 edges out slightly better acoustics and just feels better when you're typing. In terms of gaming, neither keyboard was really designed for gaming, but the version 2 was usable for casual gaming, but the version 3 is clearly better thanks to the reduced latency and smoother switches. One of the pros of both keyboards is the portability, and both are equally portable, but the version 3 just feels a bit sturdier when being carried around, so you feel like it's less likely to get damaged. In terms of aesthetics, I definitely feel the version 3 offers a more polished professional look, whilst the version 2 is slightly more creative from what everybody was describing it. Overall, the NuPhy Air75 version 2 was a decent low profile mechanical keyboard, and it's still available in the market. However, the Air75 version 3 takes everything that worked on the version 2 and refines it. It's got smoother Gatron switches, it's got a sturdier frame, it's got a longer battery life, and it definitely has improved connectivity, and it just feels more like a premium product. If you already own a version 2 and are happy with it, there's no real reason why you'd need to upgrade. It's still an excellent keyboard, especially if you don't care about some of the newer switches or incremental improvements with the version 3. However, if you're on the lookout for a new keyboard in 2025, Air75 version 3 is a really good choice. It delivers a really good typing experience, has a great battery life, and is definitely one of the better low profile mechanical keyboards out there in 2025. Hopefully you found this video helpful. If you have, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.